Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Max on Color. And today I'm joined by my beautiful co-host, Diego. Hey, what's up, Diego? How are you,
Hey
man?
Max. Hey Max. Hey everyone. I'm so happy to be here. It's like my first show with Maxon in the year. So I,
Yeah.
I know it's February, but I can still say Happy New Year, right?
It's, that's a stretch.
Yes, it's a stretch. It's like okay, or at least have a great year, everyone.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. Um so welcome back everybody and welcome back to the new format of the show. We changed a little bit and probably when you watched the intro you saw some couple of hashtags. And today we have the hashtags movie buff. And what is movie buff exactly? And it's a new format. It's like very laid back and chill. So me and Diego, we're just gonna talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, right? But before
When
that,
you say that, I was thinking like, okay, let's talk about soccer.
we
Also,
missed that.
also
It's
PlayStation games. Yeah.
it's already last year, man. Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Um. Yeah. Let me share my screen and do some little housekeepings, right? All right. I hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, we see
Um,
it.
Yeah, at Maxon today's like nowadays we have webinars from Mondays until Fridays. So if you're really into webinars, not just about color grading for sure, if you are into compositing, if you're into 3D sculpting or 3D modeling, anything, you can tune in to maxon.net/events, and there you can see like plenty of cool stuff happening every day. And that will be in our YouTube channel, Maxon Training Team. For example, tomorrow, Hashi and Seth will be back to talk about amazing visual effects that they will recreate from popular movies, right? Um, don't forget, if you're new to the show, you can get free T-shirt, and those T-shirt, one of those T-shirts here. You can also get the beanies or the hat if you want to, and
Hey, I want the hat. I want the
you want the
hat.
hat. Yeah, you should,
Yeah.
man. Um, to do that, you simply to go to the store page. It's Maxon Merch Store. I will copy and paste the link in the comment. But to enter the store, you need a passcode, and the passcode for today is Sculpting Worlds, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, right? So you'll see something like that. You'll see a field where you can enter the password, and once you enter the password, you'll be redirected into the shop, and you can choose one of those goodies. And those are free. Those are our great gratitude for you guys for always showing up to our events and for being cool. Thank you so much. And again, I also want to say that the sessions, all the sessions, the webinar sessions, is recorded and it will be available for replay in YouTube, on YouTube. So just open YouTube and search for Maxon Training Team, and you'll see all the webinars will be available there. Speaking of webinars, if you're speaking Spanish and if you want to learn more about filmmaking and also color grading, Diego has a interview going on. He also has another webinar coming soon in March, and that will be in YouTube. It's called Coloristas Hispanos. Am I
There you
pronouncing it
go.
wrong?
There you go. Next time I will invite you, man.
Ándale. There you go. And
For sure.
so
I'm actually sharing the link here in the chat.
awesome. And Diego will be interviewing Luisa in this episode, right? Do you
Yeah, we
want to
will
talk
talk
a little
more
bit?
about.
Do you want to
Maybe
talk a little
later.
bit? Okay, maybe
Maybe
later.
later.
Cool.
Later you will see.
Yes.
Sure.
And if you're into color grading and if you happen to visit Las Vegas, for NAB for sure in April, make sure that you're also joining Colorist Mixer live in person in Vegas. So I think it's like the first one after so many years online, right? So this will be like the first one in person. So it's like a colorist meetup. A lot of colorists will be there. If you want to like reach out and talk to your favorite colorist about anything, just be there, right?
Yeah, there will be beer, there will be food, there will be prices. It's actually a great event for networking and for also to meet the colleagues. It's a unique event. It's a unique event, and you should go if you're around Vegas. I think
Exactly.
I will be. Maybe Max will be. We still don't
Yeah,
know, but will be the perfect time to know you and to know. I don't know, to share some things.
that's awesome. And yes, and I think that's it. Last week we have last 2 weeks we talked about the inside out of Colorista. So I did some little breakdown, Diego, about Colorista, what you can do with Colorista, and how the tools are working. And that was under the topic of back to basics, right? And today we're going to talk about movies. We're just gonna lay back, relax, and talk about the movies. Why movies? Because we're simply a big lovers of movies, and Oscar is just in the corner, and yeah, both of us have Oscar fevers, and I hope that you got it too. Steal it right away from the song. Sorry, can't help it. And and what's your favorite movie? Let us know about that in the comment. And yeah, today we'll just talk about the movies that is nominated to in the Oscars, and when we have time, we'll look into the grade and how we approach the grading. If you want to create something similar on that way, maybe like in the spirit of type of you know uh, creating,
Yeah, yeah, and it's
right?
like in this new format, movie buff is about that. It's about more like to talk about the movies, talk about inspirations, talk about what is happening, what are the color tendencies, and we are discovering with Max that this is our first show about movie buff, but we really like it. We really like it, and the first thing that we were talking is, okay, let's make this movie buff. Let's select a topic. And then I was okay. The Oscar nominated are already announced, and the Oscar like event is in March, I think so. Max, yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So it's like the perfect moment to talk about that movies because then okay, then will be less. Now will be more, and also one of the things that with Max we were saying, hey, let's go back to see movies, because it's
exactly.
like we are watching series all the time. Now probably if you ask a person, I don't know, a 20-year or boy or girl about what is your favorite movie, she or he will ask, I don't know, a series, Stranger Things,
Stranger
or I
Things.
don't know,
I
something
mean,
like that.
no hate for Stranger Things. I love it. I love the series, but sometimes it's more like confessions here, Diego. I feel like it takes you need to dedicate like time for watching series, but I love that. But sometimes it's like really hard to do with movies. It's okay, 2-3 hours, and then that's it, finished, right? Sometimes blockbusters movies is like 1 hour and 30 minutes, and that's it, right? And I have a funny story about movies, about series. Sometimes, when you pause in the middle of the season and you kind of like watch another series, and when you want to go back and rewatch that, it takes so much commitment, and sometimes, you really cannot make it. It happens to me with Ozark. I really love Ozark, but I post Ozark and go watch Stranger Things, and I couldn't help it. But after that, I cannot continue with Ozark.
Yeah, and the
That's
also
such a
the
shame.
yeah, the funny thing that we were talking also is like, okay, we usually watch series because we are saying like, okay, it's just 45 minutes. That's it. And
Yeah.
then I will go to sleep. But come on, we never watch just one episode. I mean, I
No.
know I'm not the kind of person that watch 6 episodes, But I have many friends that they watch the full season like completely. So at 3 a.m. or even at 5 a.m., they say,
Exactly.
wow.
That's the thing about series, man. I mean, the story and everything is. I feel like okay, just one more, and then after that, 3 hours later, oh, still not finished.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, but the good thing is that more of the series have the visual and storytelling quality as the movies. That's one of the good
Yeah,
things. So now we
exactly.
can say that
Series
we have more
nowadays.
options. We have more options. But yeah, I mean, going back to a theater, I don't know, eat some popcorn, see the full screen. I love it. I love it. It's
And
like, wow.
yeah, if you're like a visual person as well, I think movies, it's like really the best thing for you to, to learn the craft and art of the filmmaking in general, and also color grading part of it, right? I
Yeah, yeah.
remember watching The Batman. I really love that movies, and I watch it in the cinema. And because I really love it so much, I went home, and a couple of weeks later, yeah, I decided to rent the movie in Amazon. I must admit that it doesn't look the same. It was so great in cinema. You can like really immerse yourself into it, and it looks like really fantastic. But it looks different in the stream.
Yes, yes. And actually, Batman is nominated also in one of the categories
Yes,
that you already have there.
I think I can find that the
Yeah,
Batman. Look,
there you go.
it's in the makeup and hairstyling. Is it because
Yeah.
the eyeliner of Bruce Wayne?
Of Twilight.
Don't get me
All
wrong.
right.
I love Robert
Okay,
Pattinson.
sound,
Sound
sound
as well,
also. Nice.
and
Visual
also
and visual
visual
effects.
effects. Yeah.
And it's an amazing movie. I love it. I love it. But you know what I like also of cinema is the sound. Wow.
Yes,
Sound is like
it's a big
I
part
love
of
it.
like the experience of a movie, right, Diego?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know that in the pandemic we watched a lot of series and we didn't want to go out and so on. But I know like movies like for example Batman, Top Gun, Avatar are the kind
Yeah.
of movies that it's like, come on, it will be better if you watch it in a big screen with a lot of sound, with I even with popcorn, with a big popcorn can.
Speaking of Top Gun, which is like one of the movie that we're going to talk about today, and I watched it in the cinema, complete with a D box they call it here. So the seat is also moving and so on and so forth. It's amazing.
Really? Really? So you were feeling like in a jet?
Exactly, it has to be done. And it's such a very well made movie, very beautiful movies, and the story is amazing, and it threw me back to the first Top Gun, and there are so many nostalgic moment there, and there are so many pretty pictures that I really love it in the movies. Not just the pretty pictures, of course. The story itself, it's amazing. So, luckily, Top Gun, it's available in shot deck as well. So both
That's
of them,
nice.
the either the Maverick or the first one. Let me search again. Top Gun Maverick. There you go. And you can really see that the movie has like couple of different looks onto it, but I haven't read any articles about it, but it kind of like bring me back to the old movies. There's like a, I don't know, it could be like it leads you to think about the first movies, and they did it like really well.
Yeah, and Top Gun is the kind of movie that I know that I speak with is one of my masters, and
Yeah.
she said that she did that movie. She was doing VFX, and she did
Okay.
that movie like actually when the pandemic started, it was already done. So Top Gun is that kind of movies that it wasn't released because of pandemic because people couldn't go to cinema, and it was actually released like I don't know when was it like May, May of last year I think so, May June, I don't know when was it
Yeah.
released, but it was the kind of movie that it was in the fridge or it was in the oven,
Ah,
like
okay.
waiting for the people to go out, for the
So
movies to go
they're
out.
just waiting until like the perfect moment to release that.
Yes,
I didn't
yes,
know about
yes.
that.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a movie. I don't know, 36 years in the making, so to say, after the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
Top Gun. So yeah, it's a huge and very impactful movie. And this time, instead of volleyball, we have the football.
Yeah, yeah. That's it.
Yeah, and I particularly love this like very warm look, the outside scenes like that, the outdoor scenes, and especially like those one on the jet carrier. You can really see that it has like a very specific look onto it. And if you watch the how do you call it, the soundtrack as well, the theme song, it was performed by Lady Gaga, Hold My Hands or something like that. Hold My Hand. And it looks like seamless. And it turned out that the colorist who did the movie is also doing the soundtrack. And let me share my board here. Oh,
Nice.
by the way, I'm using like this nice board. It's called Pure Ref. If you curious, I stole it right away from Anna Carolina when doing webinar with her in sculpting, and she was using this amazing tools, and I told myself, hey, I should start using it as well. So it's like a light box in Resolve, so you can just like grab any pictures in from the internet and just like put it into the board, and yeah. The colorist that did the movies and the soundtrack is Stefan Sonnenfeld. I think he's the CEO from Company 3, right? Do you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. And I think Stefan did like amazing job there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful movie.
It
It's
is.
like it's that kind of movie that you definitely, if you lost it to see it in cinema,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it will may not be the same in your screen. It will definitely not be the same. And one interesting fact about Maverick is that right now we are doing a lot of virtual production,
Mm-hmm.
chroma key and so on. In Maverick, in Top Gun Maverick, they yes, they use it a lot of extension and so on. But most of the scenes are real, are
Yeah.
shot it in real. I mean, in the jets, in mountains, they are real. They would say like, okay, let's don't not use the technology so much. Let's put that in a real situation, and it looks like that is amazing. They have like, for example, I will share it with you like a video. They have cameras on the
Mm-hmm.
planes, like 5 Venice cameras on the
Wow.
planes, to record like the expression of the people, like the movement. I mean, for sure, they have the budget of the war to do that.
Yes.
But yeah,
So,
it's an amazing movie.
do you have the videos available, Diego, or do you have
Yeah,
the
I will
image
share
available?
it. I will
Okay.
share it with you. And also, I say about one thing about the cameras, and
Yeah.
I really recommend you, as part of your education as a colorist, I really recommend for you to look what are the cameras used in the movies, what are
Yeah.
the, I don't know, all of that technical thing. I'm actually going to share with you one link where it says the cameras of the Oscars nominated movies for you guys to check all of that technical details behind our favorite movies. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Where did you share it, Diego?
I shared it in the chat. Is it not there? Oh no, wait.
It's not here yet.
All right, there you go. That's it. I was sharing it in another chat. Sorry. Okay, there you see it. Okay, yeah, probably you see it now. Okay, did
All
you saw
right.
it?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
All right. Okay, let's see.
You
Let's
you
see.
can
If
just give it
not,
to me. You can just give it to me through the
yes.
Teams, and then I can put it to YouTube.
All right, perfect. Yeah, no
Cool,
worry.
man.
All right.
Also, before you show the video about the making of. I mean, that's like a really big thing about it. Um, I also want to draw your attention into this like amazing black and white look that was done in the soundtrack, and you can really see that the black and white is like really dense, and it's really caught my attention, and somehow it really urged me to play around with the gray, and it's like, come on, Max, try it. And I really am motivated to want to recreate that. Of course, I don't have the show lot that they are using in the in the project, but perhaps it's we can get closer, so to say. So in the spirit of recreating the look of Maverick, I prepare some clips here in Resolve timeline. Can you see my Resolve, Diego?
Yes, we see your
Awesome.
screen. That's nice.
Cool, man. There's like this trick that I learned long time ago from Josh Peacock over at Mixing Light, and he was sharing such a fantastic tricks that you can use to deconstruct a look, so to say, and you can play around with it, and and perhaps use it onto another shot, so to say. But I mostly use this technique to see what is actually happening in the clip. Of course, you can just like analyze the image itself, but you can also do this trick to see what is happening under the image itself, like what is the look actually is, right? Of course, reading a lot of articles how the movie is made is like really important, but it's like the cheap trick to create,
and it's actually incredible trick. You guys will see something like, you will be like, what?
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yes. And that's that is through the use of custom curves. And if you're familiar with custom curve, is that you can ungang them, and you can like go into like specific channel, and you can start playing around with it, right? And what's nice is that here, what counterintuitive at first is the strength slider, right? If I am at the moment I am introducing red to the highlight of the image, right? And if I pull my strength slider all the way to 0, it may feel that I'm reducing all the red, means that it will be just become gray again, right? But apparently it's not. It is apparently the 0 is living at 50. So if you push below 50, it is pushing towards the opposite hue.
The complementary color, yeah.
Exactly. And the same like the other color as well. So for example, if I am pushing blue, and I will get yellow if I'm pushing it to 0. So just like that. So the tips that Josh give in his article is that you can try to
balance,
neutralize, balance and neutralize the image with the look, and then after that you revert that by pushing the strength slider all the way to the opposite directions. So let's do that, right? So in this case, it feels like that I can try to balance my image, just bring it how do you call it, bring it to
to
the
the other color. And you know what I like of this look? It's like it's like a gold look.
Exactly.
Like a golden. It's like golden. It's not like yellow. It's not like red.
Yeah.
It's like kind of gold. And when we are talking about looks and so on, I really like when people like express the look with a feeling. So they will be like golden, golden California, golden Pacific, Malibu look, something like that. Yeah.
And also, ideally, when you want to use this, you want to set your luminance mix to 0, because otherwise you'll how do you call it?
The light will compensate.
Exactly. Yes. So in this case, I'll just bring the blue highlights up, line it towards the green, and go to the red curve and bring it down. So something like that. Perhaps the lower part of the red is a little bit high. I can just push it down, maybe open it up a little bit, something like that. So it's like very how do you call it, very quick, because you're not creating a look, but you're just like deleting a look, so to say.
Yes.
And
It's easier actually.
exactly. And from here on, you can kind of like push the strength, the intensity, to the opposite direction. So in this case, I'll just reduce everything to 0, and when you see the result, it feels like the look is like doubled. It's like
Yes.
very intense. So what I can do is that I can just like copy and paste, perhaps go to next clip, and I already prepared a version here, which is nothing available. So in this case, it is a red clip. So perhaps I can, how do you call it? I can map it to Rec 709 first. Color space stand from, so I almost forgot about that. So here's red color 4 and red gamma 4, and I just want to do it Rec 709 and gamma 2.4, of course, right? So
Yeah.
and I'll create a node before that, and if I apply that node previously, boom, it's kind of like, yeah, it's close enough. So what I can really see here is that, oh, there's a push towards yellow on the highlights and mids, and as you can see, like blue is like really crushed there.
Yeah.
And this is like where you can start to see that this type of tricks is really interesting. So you can kind of like deconstruct what's happening in the image, but it's not necessarily will give you like the perfect result every time you do it, right? So it's kind of like giving you inspirations, like, okay, there's a push towards yellow. Maybe you should think another way to push the highlight towards toward yellow, right? So it's like a starting point in my opinion, Diego.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like we are talking about these awesome movies,
Yeah.
these like big budget movies,
Yes.
and I mean, I'm not working in the case where I have these awesome movies. So what you will find is that you will try to replicate, and probably you will not find the same results.
No.
So I will always say that this is a starting point, this is a reference.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's in Top Gun, but in your movie, probably it will not be the same as Top Gun, but will be a starting point. So what I
Exactly.
know, for example, working next to the cinematographer is like, okay, you add the look, and then with the cinematographer, you start saying, okay, but can I put a little bit more of green in the sky?
Exactly.
Or I put more red. So that way with him, you start like to building your
look.
own look of the
And
movie.
then you're also shooting with it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Actually the magic of grading. It's like, I mean, start like creating based on the story. And why, if you are next to the cinematographer or the director, will be even better.
Yeah. And as you can see, I already like play around with the image, and based on that, like knowing like, okay, there's a push toward golden in the highlights, and I can try to emulate, so to say, borrow the look with my own method. And in this case, I can show you that. Do we have time to show that, Diego? Can I show this?
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, for sure.
So what I did is that let me just load these versions again, and here I can start to think about the working space that I want to use, right? Maybe I can just simply use aces, for example. And
Yeah.
I should have prepared it like way before. Of course, you can set your color management in the project settings, but this is like just an example that I want to show you. So we're going from red. This is not ReLoxy, sorry. Red color 4, red gamma 4 into ACCCT, and I turn on the reference gamut compressions. And here we're going from ACCCT back into Rec 709. Okay. Right? Maybe.
Awesome.
So by doing that, you know, I kind of like correctly mapping my image to the monitors that I am using. So first thing, I feel that, you know, there, if I, let me just bring the image, for example, if I'm using like this, because it's like outside clip as well. Selected still image. I can really see that, you know, there's like a difference. I mean, this is another music video by One Republic. Also a soundtrack for Top Gun as well. But this time it was colored by, it was graded by different colorists. I think it's, what's his name? Paul Bupta. Paul Bupta. I'm sorry, Paul, if I pronounce your name wrong. I'm sorry. But I feel that it's captured the essence, and I can start using it as a, you know, as the reference image for the look. So I feel that, you know, there's a lot of like, perhaps I want to go through the film emulations approach, and there are plenty of ways that you can do film emulations, right? You can use the film emulation slot that come with a Resolve, the Codec 2383. You have three options there. You can use the D55, D60, or D65. But you can also use like tools like any tools, or, you know, you can also use Magic Bullet Looks, because inside Magic Bullet Looks there's like this cool tool called Film Print that you can also use to kind of emulate the film emulation process, right? I will set the color management into ACES, because we're working in ACES-CCT, so it's ACES in and ACES out, and I want to monitor it in Rec 709. So here, I'll just do my film print. Perhaps increase my strength to 100 so that I can see it. I can combine it with film negative, you know, because you can emulate the process of scanning the digital image into film negative, and then printing it into film print. You can kind of like emulate that process. So let's turn the grain all the way to 0. I don't want to have any grain. I want it to look like pretty clean, and I can push the temperature up a little bit, something like that. So for me, this is like the base canvas, so to say, right? So let me.
Nice.
It's like it's the base canvas, and then after that, I can start working towards that. So anytime when you're color grading, there are like three things like that I believe that it is like very necessary that you have to take care of. It's like the amount of contrast in the image, and then after that the amount of the color or saturations in the image, and also the texture in the image, right? So I want to tackle the contrast, right? So I'll name it contrast, and this is my film print emulations. And in the contrast, I can just play around with the contrast, or I can use the curve maybe to draw a simple S-curve, something like this. But I can also bring up the reference image and try to see the scope, and try to get a reading from the scope. You can really see that, you know, the reference image has more contrast, so I can perhaps use my contrast and pivot something like that, and also perhaps dropping my exposure. And I will drop my exposure using HDR wheels. But since we are setting up the color management not in the project settings, you kind of need to do this. You need to change the color space into whatever color space you're working in. At the moment, I'm working in ACCCT. So I'll set it to ACES AP1 to ACCCT, and I can just start dropping perhaps a quarter stop or maybe more, something like that. And I feel like the contrast is a little bit much. So we're close enough, and I can bring up the gain just slightly, something like that. And I can start playing around with the balance of the image, with the color. So let me create another node, if I know how to create a node after that, not before. And let's play around with the primaries color bars. And here I can try to match the amount of like colors or hues that available in the reference image. So perhaps I can increase red and reduce blue, sorry. By reducing blue, I'm introducing yellow. So by combining it with red, I kind of like make it a little bit more golden, but you know, my subject looks like very underexposed. Perhaps I'll drop it into minus 0.5, something like that. And then so on and so forth. I can do that, and I can also use vector scope to see if the amount of saturations in my image is actually matching to the reference clip. So I mean, if I am trying to play around with the offset, you can kind of see like, okay, that's my my image at the moment. It's nothing there. But if I try to push the offset or the saturations even, you can really see that, okay, the reference image has more saturations compared to my image, right? Oh, why am I doing it in balance? I'm sorry, guys.
Don't worry.
And now I messed up everything. Okay, let's do that. So it has to be a separate node, Max. Come on. So something like that. And perhaps I can balance it more using the offset wheel and just push it somewhere over there. And like that, before and after, you can kind of like see it's close enough. Of course, you need to spend more time to, you know, tweak the details. And in the version that I did previously, I also use a similar method, but you know, slightly different tools. With slightly different tools, is that you know, you can get like a closer result. Here, I just changed the contrast of my image and changed the balance using the printer light. And as you can see, I reduce yellow and then push red a little bit. And I use my there's the film emulation trick going on there, and I use like the increasing saturations using the how do you call it, the CIE lab color space. I think we talked about that last year, Diego, right?
Yeah, we talked one webinar about that. Yeah.
So it's basically you go to a CIE lab color space and you dedicate 3 parallel node, and everything is like kind of like how do you call it, dedicate to exactly. So one node only for the L channel, second node for A channel only, and the third node only for the B channel. So in the A channel, as you push like positive value, you get like a magenta, but when you push like a negative value, you got like the opposite color. So it's, in this case, it's green. And in the B channel, if you push positive value, you got yellow, and if you push negative value, you got like blue. So in this case, I just like, as you know, I push, I warm up the highlight, cool down the shadow in the A channel, and then also in the B channel, I warm up the highlight and then slightly reduce the temperature in the shadow. Of course, I can talk about it a little bit more if we have time in the end, towards the end, about this saturations, increasing saturations in the lab color space. But I think Diego want to show the real how do you call it, the real deal of this of the look in Top Gun Maverick, because he's the one who read the articles about it, and I think he knows what's happening behind the scenes, so to say. Right, Diego?
Yeah, actually, I sent it to you by Teams, so you can share it,
Okay.
like the link. And but I want to ask you, Mas, where people can see Maverick? Is it in a platform?
Oh, yes. I think at the moment it is available for rent in Prime, Amazon Prime.
Amazon
So,
Prime. All
yeah.
right.
Make sure
That's
if
awesome.
you have the chance to watch it in the cinema, please do so. It's amazing, and
I think they don't have the chance anymore.
it's over. It is
They
over.
have to go back to the past. Yeah, they have to go back like 7 months or something like that.
There's like this scene, like the ending scene, that's like really nice. I'm
No,
sorry,
it's
it's
beautiful.
gonna be a spoiler alert, guys, but it's just an amazing movie, especially this type of scene. Oh man, this is crazy good.
No,
And
it's a beautiful movie. It's a
this
beautiful
scene as
movie.
well, Jennifer
Yeah.
Connelly, Tom Cruise. It's like a perfect match made in heaven.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's that kind of movie that for sure is definitely worthy to analyze.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, watch it. Watch it. I don't know, Amazon or the platform that you are searching for.
I,
All right.
I told
Yeah.
you previously, Diego, right, that the movie is so immersive. Of course, like first couple of seconds when you go to the cinema, watch the movies, you kind of see like, oh yeah, there's a push toward golden, but then couple of minutes later you forgot about those, like totally forgot, and it's just pure story after that, and that's an indications of a good movies there, of a great movies. And
Yeah.
you know
And
what? You know
yeah.
what? It is
Yes.
it is nominated for the editing. So it's amazing how the editor like do the cuts on the movies, and that's a
I
good to
cannot
know,
imagine
great to
how
know.
many cameras you have to manage
Yeah,
for the editing. Wow.
yeah.
It's like watching that behind the cameras. They had cameras everywhere. They have Venice cameras everywhere. So
It is
definitely
it
it's
was
a
shot
worthy
with
movie.
Venice, right?
Yes, it was shot with Venice.
And I also heard that one of the lenses used was like a photo lenses, Voigtlander.
Yes, like a shotgun or shotgun lenses,
Yeah.
something like that. It's crazy. I mean, the behind of the scenes of this movie is amazing. It's
Cool,
amazing.
man.
So yeah, so talking about that movies, that Oscar movies that are really great, I want to share with you one movie that I actually watched it like, when was it, like 2 nights ago? Because the funny thing that I mean, we had this idea to talk about Oscar nominated movies, and it was great because we say, okay, let's watch movies. The thing is that the first 5 minutes we are so like interested in color,
Yeah.
but then we forgot about color and then we followed the story. And that's the most beautiful thing. I mean, if we were like all the movie looking at the color, it will be a really bad movie. It will be a really bad movie.
That's like what we always heard in the colorist community, right? And anytime you can see the grade, then the colorist is doing a bad job. But
Yes,
then if you don't
yes.
feel it, if you don't see it, that's an indications that the it was really well made.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about one amazing movie, an amazing like character that is called Elvis.
Oh,
So
do you want to
amazing is
share your
in,
screen, Diego?
yeah, for sure.
Let me just change it to your screen.
All right, perfect. Okay, there you see my double, 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 triple. There you are. Okay, so Elvis. I'm so happy to watch this movie because I found it really nice, really nice. I think was nominated is nominated to best movie and best cinematographer. Max, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Let me search.
all right, so it was directed by Baz Luhrmann, cinematographer by Mandy Walker, amazing.
I
The
love
camera,
Mandy Walker.
she's great. The camera is the Alexa 65, first camera. And there are two colorists, Tali Bateman, and the other colorist is Kim Ren George. I am sorry for the pronunciation. I still don't know how to pronounce your last name. Sorry, Kim. Sorry, Kim. And also, one of my masters, Warren Eagles, made an interview to Kali Bateman. So I
Oh,
send you
really?
the link. Yeah, I send you the link by chat so you can share it to the people. I was like listening to the podcast and it's really nice. And we were talking about Max that we love this new format of movie buff because we are, I mean, in the research of a movie, you learn so many things. You learn so many things more than actually like I don't know like reading like a book or something like that because you are reading articles, you are like listening podcasts, you are also taking screenshots of the movie, and it's really interesting. So let's
I
talk a
think
little
we're
bit.
just
Yeah.
lucky, right, Diego? We're just lucky as a colorist. You don't whenever you're doing research, you don't have to read like a. I mean, of course, if you want to go into there, I mean,
We are not lawyers. We are not lawyers.
exactly. You don't have to read like this thick books. All you need to do is just go to cinema and watch your favorite movies. I mean,
I'm watching
all
favorite
is
movies.
a oversimplifications, but it's fun.
Yes. Yes. It's funny. So okay, don't fall asleep. That's the thing. All right. So with Elvis, Elvis is amazing, amazing. I really recommend that. It's like the editing of Elvis mix different like time period. They also do some animation. They mix it with comics. They have black and white. They have every kind of looks in the movie. So I will definitely watch it again because it's that kind of movie that it has, for example, as you see it here, this at the beginning of when he was like starting, and let me show it to you. It was like something really like I don't know. I think it was 40s. I don't know, but it was like something normal and so on.
Yeah.
This was like when he was child, and it was more desaturated, more like with less color, less contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Then he was like going into this place when he was a child, and I love this look. This look is it was like yellow, a little bit greeny, and it was like with the moment when he was like saying, "Okay, I love the music." I'm not saying spoilers because everyone knows the story of Elvis, so come on. But I mean, it's definitely worth it to see the movie. And then this is one of my favorite looks of the movie. Look at this one. This was like when he was also like going to the place he loved more of the music because it was like his inspiration. And I love this green look because it was like it's green. This is a little bit more green yellow. This is green a little bit more cyan.
Yeah.
But what I like more is look at the skins, look at the separation of this color, and researching and more about the movie. It was like they were like trying to record with lenses from that time period and to recreate all of the time period differently. One of the most beautiful things of this movie is that they were doing the looks on set and they were like every night like trying to figure it out the color and so on. So it's one of that kind of movies that the color was all prepared, and when you watch it I really recommend it. You will love it. You will love this look is nice. For example, when they go to Los Angeles, they have the like the imaginary look of Los Angeles, sunny skies, like golden hours, beautiful golden hours. Then they have something extreme, and this is what I like of also Elvis, is that they experiment a lot in the editing but also in the grading. So we have this kind of extreme looks also with red, also with blue. Sometimes they use neons in, for example, in the presentations, and it's like really really interesting. But also they are like they have like for example this kind of looks in the house of the mother, blue, here blue a little bit with more magenta and so on. And here they have beautiful black and whites. And one of the good things that they use it is that, Elvis, it was in the on the TV all the time. So they were mixing like real images, or not real images, like movie images with the TV all the time, like mixing it.
Mm.
And for sure, they were using a lot of grain. A lot of grain. It's a movie that definitely, I'm sure they use a lot of film emulations, grain. And also, this is one of my favorite looks also of the movie. That look at this. It's
Oh
so
man.
different as the other ones.
Yes.
So as you see, it's a long movie. It's like 2 hours. I don't know how long is it, like 2 hours 30, something like that. But it's worthly to definitely watch it like 2 times or 3 times. The first time, definitely study a little, just enjoy the movie. Enjoy the
Exactly.
movie.
Immerse
Yes.
yourself in the story.
Yeah, I mean, enjoy it. But the second one, actually, start like to looking at the images. And actually, when I was doing the research, I was saying like, wow. I mean, how much inspiration can I get from Elvis, from the color grading of Elvis? A lot. Look at here, we already have like 6, 7 different looks. So when we are talking about one movie is just one look, no, it's up to the story. In this case, there was different time periods. So in every time period, they were using different movies, different looks. So this is really interesting. So yeah, so based on that, and one of the things that we love is why not to start playing with the with a reference, and then try to find something in an image that we have it. So for example, I have this shot that I found it a little bit similar to this one. I'm not saying that it's completely similar, but it's
Yeah.
similar. And this is something that you have to always think when you are like creating a look. Look at the shot. If the shot is similar, maybe you can do something similar. If the shot is absolutely different, you cannot do what you want. For example, in your shot, Max, of the
Yes.
beach, you select a really similar shot. If you
Exactly.
select a shot of different, I don't know, of mountains and not sunset, will be different. So when a
Definitely. Yes.
client is asking you for a look, always look at similar like parts. So for example, in this part, I'm going to do this look. I don't know. The first thing I did a color space transform. That's it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here a little bit, and I'm going to do like I don't know. Let's think that this is the base, and here probably I will balance a little bit the image. I will put a little bit more of light, something like that. I will balance the image. It looks. Let me see the RGB palette. Okay, it looks balanced. The skin looks a little bit greeny. So probably I will put this a little bit down. There you go. And this a little bit. So maybe to have more a balanced image, not so much something like that. This will be like my base. All right. Then I will start analyzing my shot. And every time I have a look, I start like dividing. So how many light I have or how much light I have. So for example, if I look at my waveform, I will actually take the waveform out here for you guys to see it. So if I look at my waveform, I will think, okay, it's actually plenty of light. It's not like a gray shot. No, there is a lot of light. Do we have blacks? Yeah, but the blacks are more gray. Look at here. Do we have a lot of white? Yeah, something like that. Then I start looking at it can be the parade, and I can say, okay, look at the highlights. So the highlights
There's a
are,
push in the green, right?
yes, pushing the green and a little bit of the red. That's the reason that it looks a little bit like yellow.
Mm-hmm.
The blacks are blacks, kind of, but they are more to a little bit to cyan, a
Yeah.
little bit, yeah, a little bit to cyan. Skins are looking nice, and these colors are great. But I also love to see it in the vector scope. The vector scope is saying to me that all of the colors are going here. All of the colors are going to this part. So based on that analysis, I go to my shot. And sometimes what I like to do is I like to put the two shots next to each other. I select the split screen and I select here just the clips. There you go. And when they're next to each other, one of the good things is that I can have the waveform also next to each other. So I can start like, for example, in this part, this will be like the light of the look. I will start like already working in the look. And I will like, okay, let's put it a little bit more here. Yeah, more light. Let's increase a little bit here. Something like that. Maybe more something here can be, yeah. Okay, so when I have the light, then I can do like the color of the look. And in the color, I mean, we can do a look with many, many, many different tools. All right, you can do a qualifier, you can do it with HDR tools, you can do it with primaries, you can do it with log, you can do it with RGB mixer, you can do it with film emulation. I mean, there are many. In this case, I'm doing it with the tools we have available in the software. That's the thing. So I will do it, for example, with the curves. So here with the curves, what I want to do is I'm going to go to the vector scope. All right. And look at when I'm moving it. When I move it like strong, I see that the part that I'm going to like affect is this. All right. Is this part. So what I can do is move here and move it a little bit more to this part.
Yes.
And you see when I'm moving it, I'm getting the result. I'm getting the result. All right. So I can say, okay, I almost got the result. Yeah. I turn it off. And there you are. But I still have to tweak it a little bit more. Why? Because look at the blue, I want more blue to this part. So what I can do is put a point here, and maybe decrease it a little bit. The blue, more to the cyan. There you go. Kind of like that. Maybe add a little bit more of green. And when I think I got it, probably I will not get it because I have this image next to each other. So what I like is to save a screenshot of this one, then come to my image that now looks different because it's in big screen. So I would like to, I don't know, like to put it in big screen and to start like analyzing. And then I will say, okay, it's getting better. How I start? It was like that, and look what I did. It's getting like a look already. But definitely I will say, okay, I don't know, let's put a little bit more of green. I will come here, more of green. There you go. More of like yellow. I will come here to the blue and a little bit more of yellow. And one good tip is that in many cases when you are creating a look, what you will find is that you will exaggerate. But don't worry, because if it's exaggerated, you always have this tool that is the alpha of the node, and you can decrease it a little bit. All right. So based on that, do I have something similar? Kind of. It's not the same. Definitely, I will have to work more in probably here a little bit, maybe more desaturated look. Desaturate a little bit more. There we go. And yeah, maybe I will have to make a layer node for the skins, maybe a little bit, or I can tweak it here. But that will be the idea. The idea will be like, okay, with two nodes and comparing and working with the waveform, you can do something similar. And for sure, this kind of movie, look at all the grain it has. So definitely you will need to add a lot of grain. And for example, to get the pink here, what we can do is we can do a layer mixer node. And here with the layer mixer, I can connect it actually. And I can do here. What happened? Why I don't see it? There you go. Me. Okay. And look. To decrease a little bit. Come on. Okay, there we go. So it can be something like that. Let me see, wait. Well, do you need the wrong node? Okay, so something like this, and decrease a little bit, and that way I will have like something a little bit like steel green, but with more detail, for example, here in this part. Okay, so that can be the look of what I'm searching for, and for sure I still can refine it. So this was the starting point, and this is what I'm getting based on an inspiration or something
Yes.
that we were looking at.
In the spirit of the reference image.
Yes, yes, that's the thing. That's the thing. I mean, we were creating and so on. But I always say, like, hey, a good exercise is to have many, many reference images. That's your
Yes.
inspiration. That's your inspiration. Movie you like, get a screenshot. Or also go to Film Grab or Shot Deck that are great, like, web page for like getting these references.
Well, thank you so much, Diego. And
Yeah.
I feel that there are some approach definitely that it's quite similar the approach that you and I are doing. It's like the use of the waveform, the use of the vector scope to analyze the amount of the saturations and also the contrast in the image. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the good things about color grading is that there are a lot of different ways to do it. A lot of different ways to do
There
it.
are plenty of ways to do that. Yes, I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with you, man. Um, you know what? Actually, we are running out of time, but I feel that it wouldn't be complete if we're not talking about this one, this another movie that's like really attention grabbing in my opinion. It's really nice, well made movies, um, and that is the war movies. It's called the All Quiet in the Western Front. Um, do can I share my screen? Let me grab
Yes.
grab my
I'm
grab
actually
my
all
screen.
quiet in the Western Front is a must watch movies. It's kind of that movies that wow. I
Yes.
mean, it's not as many looks as Elvis. Elvis has many many looks. Color Front is a different movie, but it's that I love war movies. I love Simon Private Ryan. I love Band of Brothers. Was it
Yes.
many of
Band of
that
Brothers.
movies? Yes. So when I
Um.
watched Western,
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck, really nice."
And it's really nice too, Diego. There are plenty of like the different how do you call it?
Looks
It
also,
looks
yeah.
different. It looks different
Yes.
than any other war movies. And there's like this one nice article from the AAC.com. And if you like read this, I mean, I definitely will copy and paste this to the chat.
Yeah.
You'll see that there are plenty of informations um, that you're getting. And one of the nice informations here, which is already prepared in my pure ref, like here, um, it says like what they try to do is like they want to, instead of like make it look muted, they want to add a little bit more contrast and add a little bit more color in the movie. And the cinematographer mentioning that they were boosting the highlights and increasing the contrast between the brightest points and the darker shadow, and make everything looks a little bit brighter and make it look a little bit more pop, so to say, right? And they also use a very subtle grain in the image throughout. So what I think, if I read the article correctly, they want to make it look a little bit more contemporary. So not specifically like very old and worn out look, but it's something like things that already available in the past, but well kept, and it still can be enjoyed in the modern times, like
And you know,
nowadays.
one of the things that I like it also, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like it's a German movie. It's a German
Yes.
movie. So
Yes.
it looks completely different since the beginning. It's not like
Yeah.
the I mean, because we have watched and we watch and we love that Americans war movies,
Yeah.
many of the movies, but this is a distinct an European movie, so it looks different. It looks different,
Yes.
and this is nice.
And the colorist, Andrew Daniel, he mentioned Andrew Daniel. You can check him in the IMDb, by the way. He mentioned that in the LUT creations process, when he created the show LUT, he tried to create the cooler tone in the mid and blacks, and also low contrast at the bottom end. So it's probably, if I read it in the colorist with a colorist perspective, it's probably a lifted blacks a little bit, but a lifted black, not really at zero, so to say. Slightly lifted, slightly faded, but then it's not very how do you call it, faded, flared, so to say. And he also mentioned that with the LUT, he tried to keep saturations pretty muted to allow the latitude later on, means like a lot of like the colors will come through the post, perhaps. And one thing that I really how do you call it? One thing that I really enjoy about this movies is that it has like this amazing soft, and then it's not really modern, it's not really old, but it's somewhere in between, and it's really unique. And there's like one scene where you can really see, I don't have the image, by the way. There's one scene where you can really see that they are using like some kind of like detuned lenses, and where you can really see like where the highlight and shadow meets, you can kind of see a chromatic aberrations happening, especially the scene in the forest. And also they are also trying to introduce color in the scene by using like a not normally used colors in any war movies, and that is through the use of like this yellow smoke that looks somehow, I don't know, it looks sick in my opinion. It looks not very inviting. It looks like harsh, but that's probably the point to deliver to convey the story, so to say. And another thing, when it is coming to like a look breakdown, if you want to try to borrow the look, so to say, there's like this amazing in the making of video available in YouTube. I think you can search All Quiet in the Western Front making of, and you can kind of see like there are plenty of like behind the scenes and image such as like this. You can really see that it was shot during these conditions, and that was the lighting situations happening on that day during the shots, and those were the trenches. But then if you see the movie, you can kind of see like, oh, that's the look. If you can subtract this image to that image, probably you can kind of like get the look, so to say. So I think that's a very nice exercise as well, watching like the
I
the
love
BTS.
the behind the cameras is
Exactly.
like, wow, you learn a lot,
And you can kind of like really see what's happening in the post by comparing this behind the scenes movie. And there's also in that similar in the same video, you can also see that somebody monitoring the dailies during the shooting, not the dailies, I mean monitoring the camera during the shooting. And I think the LUT is also used during this
the
process,
recording, the shot,
during the
the
recording.
shooting.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You can really see that it has that bluish tone, but the contrast is not there yet, and the blacks it's like very low contrast in the LUT itself, right? And in the article, it's also said that it is graded and resolved apparently in ACES pipeline, Diego.
yeah, nice.
Yes,
It's Netflix.
it is Netflix. Oh, it is recommended by Netflix, right? Netflix is a big supporter of ACES. Yes, awesome. And at the end of the making of film, you can really see like this on this image that they are using some kind of like detuned lenses, and you can see like there's like a difference of sharpness in the middle of the screen, And as the image travel to the edges of the screen, you can kind of already see that, oh, it's a little bit blurry. It's not that sharp. And, you know, it's like a good indications that this probably a very old detuned lenses. And yeah, that's like a very quick, how do you call it, walkthrough of what's happening behind the scenes. Although, you know, I'm probably not going to be like the perfect person who can tell what's happening exactly there. But that's what I got from the articles. So
Yeah.
in order, if we want to create a similar look, I just see the time we're overrun slightly. Let's take another 10 minutes, probably, Diego, to, you know, overrun slightly. If we want to create some if we want to borrow the look, of course, I don't have the same show lot used in the project, but you know, we can try to use like similar approach like what Diego showed previously. So we can just load the how do you call it, the still image,
Yeah.
the reference image. And you can kind of already see that, you know, in the or let me just wipe it and make it full screen. Like if I want, for example, to borrow this image and try to borrow the look from this reference image, we can use this, and perhaps we can try to simulate the workflow as well. So we'll be working in ACES in this case. So I prepared the ACES transform. So I group my clips. In the group pre-clip, I used exactly the same OFX plugin called ACES Transform. And here I'm transforming my clip from Ariloxy into Acesicity. And right at the end, at the timeline level, I am using another ACES Transform to transform between to transform from Acesicity to Rec 709. So it means that anything, any node that is created between this node to Acesicity and this node to 709 will be in Acesicity space, right, Diego?
Yes.
So same like before. I kind of like want to develop my image based on the, you know, how do you call it, pivoted based on the film emulation, so to say. And there are plenty of ways to do that. As you already know, you can use the LUT that shipped natively with DaVinci Resolve, or I can use Magic Bullet looks as well, for example. So in this case, we will use Magic Bullet looks inside ACES. And to use Magic Bullet looks inside ACES, you just need to inform looks that you want to work inside ACES. And you can just simply select the input or output, and it will open the color management tab. And here in the color management, you just need to change the mode into OCIO ACES. And you just need to change the input into Acesicity and set the output back to Acesicity, right? So you can kind of do that, or you can just select the same as input button. Okay, now we are previewing this image in sRGB, but I can also change that to Rec 709 because I'm working with a Rec 709 monitor. So I want to preview it in Rec 709, okay? And if you click the tools, you have like plenty of available tools that you can use here. Selective, camera, color corrections, and finally the film. Here, you have the option to use either film negative or film print. Why not use both? Let's simulate the process of, you know, scanning the digital into film negative and then after that printing it into film. Of course, it's not gonna be 100% the same, but, you know, it's in the spirit of, so to say.
Yes. It has the sauce. It has the secret
Exactly.
sauce.
Exactly. So here you have the option to choose between like this plenty of film stocks, film negative, and you still have the options to change either the color temperature, the exposure, the grain and the contrast, right? So I'll select the Kodak 5219 because that happens to be like a stock for digital intermediate as well, if I read it correctly. And in film print, I'll stay in the default Kodak 2383, and I want to reduce grain as well, and I want to reduce the contrast quite much. Maybe also push it towards the vintage area so that it looks like a old type of stock film as well. And here I can also push it towards vintage slightly, just to reduce the amount of contrast itself, right?
It's increasing the midtones, yeah.
Exactly. So by confirming it, here I can either reduce the strength or leave it at 100. I think I like it at 100, Diego. So I will just leave it to 100, and I will just name it FPE, something like that. And now I have like things done for my timeline. So I develop all my clips based on this FPE. And the thing that I want to watch out next, probably the black point of the reference image. And I can switch to my waveform, and I can see that the black point is nice. And if I want to change the black point, I think I will change that in this area after the FPE, and I can use like lock wheels and kind of like bring the back down or slightly push it up. So in this case, I like it like that. Before, after, very tiny difference. So here I can name it black. Cool. And perhaps if I want to do a safety measure and just clean the blacks, I can also do it here. But if we see the reference image, it seems like there's like a teeny tiny cyan in the blacks as well, especially in this area. You can kind of like really see, right, Diego? It's not neutral blacks.
Yeah,
so to say. And yeah, that's like the development part of it. So now let's create the look, and I want to create it based on the scene. And to do that, I can either use the group pre-clip, this one, or the group post-clip. And perhaps I can create the look in the group post-clip so that it will be applied to all my clips in the same group, right? So same like before, I will bring the reference image and I will judge the amount of contrast, and I can see that, okay, this image has less contrast compared to this image. Although in the waveform, let me bring the waveform up. Although in the waveform, you can kind of see like the white points is like quite up, but then, the image itself has sky in it. So that's probably not the fair amount of comparison, the fair comparison for our image, because we don't have the blue sky.
We don't have a sky here.
Exactly. Sky. And then in this case, I can just play around with the amount of contrast, and I can reduce the contrast using the contrast tool. Just reduce it slightly. So what I'm looking for is like these portions, the 1/3 portions of the image of our reference image. I want to park my image somewhere around there. So I can do that. I reduce the contrast slightly and drop the exposure. And I can drop the exposure using the HDR tools. And again, I need to set up the color space to ACES AP1 because I'm not setting the ACES in the project settings, and set the gamma to ACES-CCT. So I can just now drop down my contrast slightly like that, right? So not drop down my contrast, drop down my exposure, perhaps minus 75, perhaps. Let's see, something like that. That looks nice. So if I create another node, Now I can analyze the saturations of the image, and I can do that by going to the vector scope, of course. And here I can try to, push the blue into the image, and perhaps I can play around with the amount of saturations in my image as well. So I see that, we don't have as much saturations in the blue. Look at that. It's in our image, it's like just that much. Perhaps I can use the offset wheel to bring it closer to the world where this clip is living, right? And I can use the primary bars to kind of like reduce red. By reducing red, I'm introducing cyan, of course. And I can push blue towards that. And now probably it's a nice chance for me to rotate the hue of the blue more towards cyans, right? So this one is balance, and let me just create another node, and here probably I want the balance before my contrast, and I should have worked like that. Yeah, and I want to rotate my hue using the hue versus hue curves. So here I can just like select the cyan and the blue, maybe delete this point, and I can just try to rotate it, not towards that directions, but more towards there. And then I can also increase the saturations, right? So I can just increase it slightly or reduce it. No, somewhere like that. So before and after.
Nice.
And so before and after. And then I have like all the density from the film emulations that I have underneath this look, right? So this is before and after. If I want to, I can also perhaps take care of this warm hue, and then perhaps rotate it towards this color of the, how do you call it, of the material over here, right? And what I want to play around perhaps is also changing the hue of the green. So perhaps I can select hue versus hue curve and then take the green and push it slightly down, just like that. So Diego, that's my approach of like borrowing this type of look. And then if I want to, I can start balancing my clip based on this one. So for example, this one looks slightly dark to me, so I can go to the clip level, and then after that, okay, I'll just increase the exposure. So I can increase the exposure using the HDR wheel, or I can also just using I can also use the offset, for example.
Hey, beautiful,
like
nice.
So, and something like this, just copy and paste there. And another thing that I want to borrow from this one is like from the image from this one. You can really see that there is like a vignette going on, but there's like an extra blur happening, right? And the way I want to approach that is perhaps by doing like the cheap trick in the scene level. I'll create another node, and here I can draw my power window. Okay, make it slightly bigger, and I just want to affect this area. So perhaps I'll use my highlight and increase my softness, increase it way up, something like that. Or maybe that's a lot. No, 15 is fine. Undecisive. There you go. Something like this. And what I can do is that I can create a outside node. That is by pressing the shortcut Alt O to create a node, to create an outside node. So it means that it just affects the area that is not selected by the windows in the node number 4. So in this node number 5, because we are just targeting this outer side of the area, outer side of the clip here, I can try to, first of all, reduce the exposure by using the offset control just slightly. And then after that, I want to blur it. And to blur that, I can go into the blur tools. But instead of just blurring it in RGB, I can change the gamma into linear. And I am blurring it in linear, so to say. And since we are in linear, perhaps I'm not going to use offset control to drop down my exposure. I'll use my gain control to reduce my exposure. And there you go. This is blurring in linear, only on the outer side. And what I can also play around with this is like to emulate the chromatic aberrations happening on the lenses. And that perhaps like the cheapest trick that I can do is that by using the sizing of the node, and I can just like zoom in slightly, something like that. And here I can also ungang my blur, and I can push more reds. So let me go here in the,
and you see a little bit of chromatic. Yeah,
exactly.
Good. Nice.
You can kind
Great
of
trick.
see something like that.
Great trick.
Of course, I mean, you need to be careful with the zooming, otherwise you see like this.
Yeah, you need to zoom the image a little bit in this case.
So let me, oh, there you go. I'm zooming in. I should zoom out. Jeez, Max, come on.
Yes, and you zoom it a lot.
I'm not me when I'm hungry, Diego.
Yeah, is it lunch? No, it's actually dinner time over there.
I should have a Snickers. There you go. That's it. That's like the, so if I full screen it and press Control D, you can kind of see like the cheap vignette trick that I'm doing.
That is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if I want to, now I can target like the middle part of the screen, middle part of the image, and I can sharpen it. And that's also by simply changing it to linear gamma. And here using the sharpening tools, and I can just slightly sharpen it. Oh, it should be ganged. Sorry.
Yes.
Something like that. So if we full screen it before and after. So there you go, Diego. That's my cheap trick.
That's beautiful. Nice.
Thank you.
I like that trick. Awesome.
And the last one is probably the grain, because we read that it has a very subtle grain. If we read carefully in the pure ref document here, it says like they're using subtle grain structure to feed throughout. So what I can do is that I can use Renoiser. Just drop it in this node before the FPE. And here I can just use a very small grain. Let me just zoom in so we can kind of see what's happening. This is the default setting of the grain. That's a little bit much. And I can just change to like image vitamins, for example, and change it to log grain monochrome. So this is before and after. Right. So I think that's my take on borrowing the look of this amazing movie called All Quiet on the Western Front. So I hope you guys have a chance to watch the movies. So if you have some time to spare, go to Netflix and watch All Quiet on the Western Front, and also watch behind the scenes. It's also available in Netflix and also available in YouTube as well. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah, enjoy. I mean, it's like what we said before. It's like looking at the movies, then reading some articles, looking, then watching some behind the scenes, and start like dividing the movie will teach you a lot of what is the process behind.
Yes. Although it's not going to be the same process, but at least, it's a fun way to learn.
Yes, yes.
Right, Diego? So,
Oh
Diego, thank
yeah,
you
for
very
sure.
much. I see that, we're running over time by a lot. um,
Don't
Thank you
worry, it's
so
okay.
much. And let me just bring up my Maxon event page here, guys. So if you want to know more about the events that we're hosting, if you are into webinars, we have webinars running from Monday until Friday. And this tomorrow we'll have VFX and Chill as usual with Hashi and Seth. And on Monday, Anna Carolina will be back with a sculpting, and I think she will be talking about Unreal Engine on that event as well.
Nice.
And if you want to check the recordings of all this webinar, it will be available in YouTube. Go to YouTube and search for Maxon Training Team. And don't forget to get your free t-shirt. The link is in the chat. And the passcode for today is Sculpting World, right? And make sure if you want to learn more about color grading, and if you want to learn it in Spanish language, make sure you attend Coloristas Hispanos with Diego. It will be
Yeah,
in March, March 10, 2023, right, Diego? And
yeah.
I'll copy and paste the link in YouTube as well. And Brian, just give a comment. Glad you overrun as I caught some of it live. Now to rewind. Thanks, Max and Diego. Brian, thank
All
you so
right,
much for
thanks.
joining us, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Glad to see you in the sessions. Also, if you happen to be in Vegas for NAB this April, make sure that you join us in Colorist Mixer. And to get the ticket, you can go to coloristmixer.com. It is also in the chat now. And yeah, the tools that I've been using, it was PureRef, so pureref.com. That was the mood board, there's tools that I'm using. And yeah, do you want to say anything else, Diego, on top of that? Oh,
No, just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Yeah, stay.
one more thing. The one
Yeah.
that I want to say is that anytime you have suggestions for the show, if you have any topic that you want to learn more, please feel free to email us at maxoncolor@maxon.net. We'll be happy to hear from you guys.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And on that note, I want to close this sessions, amazing sessions. Thank you very much. I really enjoy talking about movies. Maybe we should do this more often and kind of like, break down, uh, talk about movies and perhaps borrow the looks from those movies. I really love it. Diego, thank you so much for the idea, coming up with this idea. I really enjoy it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I enjoy it so much, and also to all the people, we hope you enjoy those.
Watch more movies, guys, and make sure tune in to Oscars and, celebrate it, right?
All right.
Thank you
Okay.
very much. And
Thanks.
on that note, have a nice Thursday and enjoy your day. And we'll see you in next 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much. My name is Max and my co host Diego. Thank you so much and see you in 2 weeks' time.
See
Bye
you.
bye.
Have a great day. Bye bye.